Mike Martz joins us now from the 33rdteam.com to talk about some of these young quarterbacks, offensive guru and mastermind with the Rams. Coach, thanks for the time. What did you see Sunday out of Trey Lance, and what have you seen in his short career that makes you believe he could be a star or a above-average quarterback in this league?
I don't know anything about him. His background is so short. They obviously, 49ers, have had him for over a year now, so they must feel comfortable with where he's going. I just think that their approach in that game with him was very, very conservative, so I'm sure they had some doubts about where he is at this point too. But maybe he'll become a great quarterback. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, the outing that he had was kind of an abysmal outing. And, he's supposed to have this ability to move and, be elusive and whatnot. But from a quarterback standpoint, just being a passer, he just was not good at all.
Does he do anything well, in your opinion? Does he do anything that you like?
I've had quarterbacks go through this in the past, and their opener be real nervous and really kind of spit the bit, so to speak. And then kind of a week or two later, they get into their stride and they're good. But I was so anxious to see him play because they like him so much and have such great respect for both Shanahan and Lynch. I know they know what they're doing. I don't think that's a question, but this was just confounding to me that he could play this poorly. Hopefully, he'll get out of this and recover. But there's a lot of pressure on him too, a young player like that. But he doesn't have a very big background in football. He hasn't played very long.
Right. Well, it wasn't just week one, and he had the weather issues in Chicago. It was last year too. As a pocket passer, I mean, the receiver's 5-6 yards away from him, and he's throwing rocket balls to the guy. No touch on the ball. What do you think of the passing ability, and if that can improve?
It's hard with so few passes that he threw. I just think he was just didn't handle the pressure of the situation very well. And I'm right it off to that. I don't know what he is because everything I've seen in the preseason last year, just don't like him. You just don't like him as a passer at all. But like I said, they've had him. They know him intimately. I know that they know what they're doing. So hopefully he'll fight through this and become a good player. But right now, the only place he can go is up.
Yeah, it's, as guys who have watched the league, have never been a part of it, though, and, we bet on it, we talk about it every single day, we've watched it for a long, long time, we're sitting here just scratching our heads going back to the preseason thinking, well, here's a team that can win the Super Bowl right now. I mean, they got close last year, they almost won it a couple of years ago, Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, what's the thought here? I mean, they had to trade up to the third pick to take this guy, and he's really never done anything to be like, okay, Jimmy, now get out of the way. It's his time right now. And it's like, why are they doing this? They're possibly destroying their window to win a championship right now.
You make a good point. I don't think there's any question about it. What I think about Trey Lance is like Aaron Rodgers. I think he should be in a backup role for 3 years. That's my opinion. Mm-hmm. The speed of the game and just everything, it just overwhelmed him, and that'll happen to young players. So it's hard to know how good he is because he's just so overwhelmed at this point. But at this point, just watch him as a passer. It's hard to like him. It is, and I think if he was a backup for a few more years and played a little bit and played all the preseason games, then he probably has a little bit better chance. But from where he's come from, and to be put into this role, it's a pretty fast trip for him because he didn't play a whole lot, I don't think, in college. And from what I understand, and at this point now he's on such a good team, and you're kind of holding that team hostage now at this point. I don't know what they're going to do, but I feel for him.
I agree with that last part. So if you're Lynch or if you're coaching this team and I put you in charge, when would you make the change? When would you say enough's enough and I have to put Garoppolo in there? And also knowing what it could do to his confidence. But when do you say, listen, we have a short window. We went to the NFC title game. We have to put Jimmy in.
I think you give him another week, just to see if he can get through this, fight through this. But the Bear game certainly they should have won. And it's not a real good team out there. So I think you give him another week. I would suspect that by week 4, Garoppolo will be back in the seat.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Strong. Okay.
Well, you're right. You lost to a team that completed 8 passes. What'd you think of Fields' performance?
He's better than he was last year. I think that's a real good coaching staff, by the way, at the Bears. last year they didn't. I think Matt Nagy just from one week to another they're running different offenses. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish, but I think this is a real strong staff. I think they have a plan for him. He'll get better. They've helped him a lot defensively. They're playing better than I thought they were. They're just not very good team personnel-wise. You know, they're not. They don't have a lot on the outside receivers. The offensive line's not very good, but they're doing a great job of getting as much as they can out of those guys. I have a lot of respect for them, but Fields is still limited. You know, he's a lot like Trey Lance in some respects. The speed of the game is just too much for him. A little bit like Trey, I think. You know, when you go from college as a passer into the NFL, it's time 10. You know what I mean? Everything just happens 10 times faster for you, and you've got to anticipate things and get the ball out, and take hits, and all those things that I just haven't seen out of these guys yet. They're just young players, and hopefully it'll morph into it, you know, and who knows? Maybe they become good players, but it doesn't look good at this point.
Are you a believer in the Dolphins and their quarterback spot with Tua right now?
You know, Tua, I was not a big fan, and but the one thing watching him at this point is he has progressed. He's getting the ball out much faster. The speed of the game did intimidate him initially in his career. Then he kind of caught fire, and it makes a lot more sense to him. And they've surrounded him with some real speed, too, which helps him. You know, he can throw a screen pass or a little slant, and the guy will take off and go the distance, so to speak. So, but he's got energy to him. He's got confidence, and I love that in a quarterback. The high-energy guys that get excited about playing the game. And, you know, it's just one of those things where he's very confident with the people he has outside. I think that's a huge deal for a young quarterback. I thought he looked real good. I'm a big fan of his.
Mike Martz, our guest, Super Bowl champ, 33rdteam.com analyst. Are there any other young quarterbacks that you like?
Well, Herbert, you know, he's the best pure passer I think I've ever seen. Aaron Rodgers or anybody else. I just have never seen anybody throw the ball like he could throw it. And to step in there, you look at him last year as a rookie. You look at Trey Lance and these guys. You look at him last year coming off the bench. He shouldn't, you know, he's a backup. He comes in and just lights it up, you know. And there's a difference there. He just handles the pressure. He's confident, and he's got skill I just have never seen anybody with. You know, he just, my gosh, he can put that ball anywhere he wants. He makes all the throws. And I know the quarterback coach out there, he said he's in there before the coaches, and he stays so after everybody goes, oh, he's a gym rat. You know, he wants to be the best that's ever played the game, and who knows, he might be one day.
Mike, tell us about the 33rdteam.com.
You know, it's a group of us, about 20, 30 guys on Wednesdays. We do a little round table, and then we do some pieces individually on the website. So it's a lot of fun to do. I think it's a different take on things than what you probably see out there on TV.
Very cool. Thank you for the time today, sir. We really appreciate that.
You bet. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.